Hello, and welcome to the SP Film Viewers podcast.
We're your hosts, Sophie and Paul, where we talk about movies I've never seen.
And sometimes movies I've never seen.
You can find us on all major podcast platforms.
Please remember to subscribe and review our show wherever you listen.
And follow us on social media. Just search for SP Film Viewers.
And now, on with the show. So, here we are. This episode is been released to you a few weeks after we've seen the film we're going to be discussing today. So when you hear this, it's
raw and just after watching it.
Yeah, but
2 weeks
but
later.
to the listeners, they won't have. Yeah, they won't be hearing it because obviously we're committing to our anime
100%.
feature. So that's important. We can't do stuff where you're like, oh well, actually, it's nothing related to anime whatsoever. So
yeah,
yeah,
and as well, it's going to get busy period of summer birthdays for me. So this will be great to. Well, it's a bit quieter.
Yeah.
Add more backlog for us, which we never do.
So on the basis of like people may have seen this by now anyway at this point when you're listening to this, so that might be good anyway rather than
spoiling it.
Yeah, we can just go into spoilers as it were from this discussion.
Mm-hmm. Probably won't even be in the cinema by the time that
that's what I mean. Yeah, so by the time we wanted to do it properly and be like, oh well, it's not there anymore. It feels like a very limited screening because the room we're in, we've never in our local cinema, we've never been in that room ever. The times we've been there, it's very really small.
Funny as well because like he said screen 10 and I normally don't listen to the man that's there.
Yeah.
And you were carrying on walking and I'm like, it's there. Like literally just walked in and it was there. And it was so tiny. It's a tiny room. But there wasn't many people actually in there either with us.
There wasn't, no.
There's like a sprinkle.
But it was a warm summer day, so I don't think I had anything to factor in on that. But
maybe. Or just what the film is, I'm not sure. So the film is, Paul, by the way.
Hurry Up Tomorrow. The main reason we were going to go see it anyway is because it stars The Weeknd.
Abel Tesfaye.
Yeah, who we're big fans of.
Love him.
So you may know him for his music, but you may also know him for the fact that he did that poorly received TV show, The Idol, that got cancelled after one season.
Oh, did we even watch?
We watched a couple of episodes and then we
one or two.
We were like, no, this is very cringe, like how he was coming across and creepy.
It was a soft Canadian accent that just didn't seem to go well. But I don't think he must have been putting something on because he sounded fine in this.
Could have been himself, probably more. They were saying like, just be yourself, as opposed to putting on this, trying to overact as like a creepy character.
Yeah, which to be fair, it's quite nice because we have actually recently, after watching The Idol, we've watched Nosferatu, which he said she.
Oh, Lily Rose Depp, yeah.
Seen her in a new role that's quite different to The Idol, and then The Weeknd playing The Weeknd pretty much. Well, he's even called Abel in this.
Yeah,
like the name.
Yeah, there's no transparency with it. It's basically almost like a semi-autobiographical story about what he's been going through, I guess.
I'm hoping it's exaggerated because the song Gasoline, I hope it doesn't physically mean that he got gasoline poured all over him.
Who knows?
I feel like that's more like a, what's the word, where it's like a lyrical picture put into place, like if that makes sense, like it just sounded good. And then they've
emphasised that. Yeah, for part of the script. So
where do we start? Do we start at the beginning or can we just jump around or...
Well, I mean, we can start with the point you brought up when we were on our discussion for anime, when we covered the Daft Punk Interstellar 4/5s, where you said, what if Weeknd did a film, how would that transcribe to using the music? Like, would it all just be music and would there be a narrative to go through and such? Now, that kind of does happen in this a little bit, but not in a sense of like it's just the album playing out and then stuff happening in between that. And
yeah, I agree, because I don't even think, you can correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah.
but I don't think the it does it like for the album.
Oh
There's
no,
some
no,
songs that don't even happen.
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
Like there's
I
no
mean, to be honest, it's a long album. If you
Sao Paulo either.
and that plays that was in the club very briefly.
Yeah, it wasn't, not the
Which
bit.
yeah, that bit, yeah.
Because I always get, because this is what I love about the Weeknd's albums. Like, I'm gonna gush for a minute and fangirl,
Uh-huh.
and I think this is why I said it, linking with the Daft Punk thing, where like I feel like this is a piece of music that is an album, and
Uh-huh.
I know people are like, well, that's, yeah, everything's an album, Sophie, but it's a fluid album that you can literally, like, all the songs merge into one, like, not in a bad way.
It's like a concept album in a way.
Yeah.
I do prefer that when it comes to albums. That has been the case with the two previous one, Dawn FM and After
100%.
Hours. And there's the way that concept albums work as well for, say, like MF Doom, the Food album, which is all to do with like food based. The tracks are called that, and there's inclusion of food references within those songs as well. So that's what I mean by a concept album. And there's a billion other ones that people do.
I think also what I mean is, like, when I say fluid, is how the songs like Cry For You and like
merge into the next
Sao Paulo, merge in, and that's when I think they're both the same song, like, because it literally is streamless the way that it like kind of just merges in, and it just feels like,
but there is a bit in between that, like a little interlude
that I can't sing.
Yeah. And there's a better one, a stronger example of that. Sorry to say, is there wasn't featured in this film was Baptized in Fear, and it goes into Open Heart. That's like that is seamless, like straight in. Yeah,
and I think
it builds and then it goes in.
That's what I find fascinating about The Weeknd. Like, it's, for me, as an, like, listening to that as an artist, I can tell, like, he's put a lot of effort into making that album the way that he's done it. And even like Dawn FM and After Hours, it's thought through, it's methodical. And even when we were watching it, like, not that it was for beat for the album, because obviously it was, like you said, it'd be a lengthy film.
I think the album runs about hour and a half or something, but that would have to be,
there'd be no dialogue.
There'd be no dialogue at all. It would just be going into the, like I say, like with the Daft Punk thing, where it's pretty much that all the way through.
Yeah,
so
I think it works though, because it does provide some form of intensity to it. I think for me already, when we were going into this and watching the trailers, I was a little bit like, what have you got me into, Paul? I thought it was to do about the Weeknd. And yeah, okay, there's a bit of thriller to it. Like, maybe there was a little bit of drama. But there was like a zombie film. There was some weird
28 weeks later, sorry.
There was some weird ass kids, whatever that was, when they were one classroom.
I've heard like these names been like in the Instagram, Twitter circle of like, oh, these things are coming out, but seeing like a visual of them, like, oh, what they are going to be, that's like, oh, this is exciting, because it's they're all good trailers. I mean, to be fair, they do a good job of like trying to like scare you or make you intrigued. That's what this trailers are supposed to do, so good job. But that's sometimes it's not always the case when you actually sit to watch them. So
you mean like Smile?
Yeah, there's one. Even when I was going back, where watching something and there was that, was it Haunting in Venice? The Poirot thing one. And the way they edited that trailer made it look like, oh, this is genuinely going to be scary, like the way they did it. And then I watched the films, oh, this is pants.
I got a vibe that it was going to be pants from the get-go.
But that was that, oh, I'd watched that one. I did, and it was terrible. Terrible.
I do think though, like the trailers already got me a little bit anxious before, and then I was like, I was looking at you thinking, well, what rating is this? Because like obviously not the last cinema, but the first cinema trip we went to the year was Nosferatu, which was an 18, and I knew, did I know about it? So this was.
Was it 18?
I'm sure Nosferatu.
I think it was 15.
I'm sure. Let me check my facts. You've just bought it. You should know.
I'm pretty sure it says 15 on the label. Yeah, I got the 4K of it, by the way. You probably seen on Instagram.
Me or
Well, the people.
It is a 15.
Yeah.
That's
18
me.
has got to be pretty like horrific.
That I would class that as an 18 for me. Like that was horrific.
It's got to be these today's standards.
But then like this one was classed as a 15, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, Nosferatu's way worse than this.
Yeah, 15 is quite broad. It obviously depends on what the content is, really.
Because this has only got a bit of violence and drug usage.
Only a bit.
What, violence or drug?
You're saying like, oh, well, it's only got that in it, so
well,
why
compared
is it
to absolute sex scenes, like I feel like that's like, oh, that's
yeah,
not that bad.
They've still got to have these ratings to. You can't be saying, oh, a 12-year-old can go and see this film and.
But that's what then I think is stupid because like when you're 16-year-old, what is it? You can
have
drink.
Sex. No,
no,
you cannot drink when you're 16.
So you can that doesn't make sense. Like you can have sex when you're 16 and have a child and bring it into the world.
Yeah, but you can't drink until you're 18. This is the UK, by the way. Obviously, and the States is 21, which is that's ridiculous.
They can have sex when they're 20.
So I think there's 16 as well. I think. Oh no, so 18 for them.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's just like they're valuing prices. Everything's like upped from what it is here.
I just don't get it. It's like I'd rather my child drink if I had a child than bring a baby into the world. So I'd rather want it the other way around, I think.
Well, yeah, but then drink inebriates you and leads to that, doesn't it, normally? Like, oh, let's fool around and then, oh, I've had a baby. Whereas if you... I mean, to be honest...
It doesn't make a difference.
Because kids just drink slyly on anyway, so it's some fake IDs and all that. Anyway, back to the film.
What do you... I'm going to interview you, Paul, for a second. What did you think of Abel Tesfaye's performance?
I think he was not trying as hard as he was in The Idol from what I saw, the brief performance I saw, so that's good in a way, that he's like a bit like... I don't think you have to... This sounds very strange. Be a great actor when you know you're most known for your music, I suppose, because you think about like in Licorice Pizza, Alana Haim, she was just playing herself, not really acting, and the sisters as well, probably just.
But then I do think she does a really good performance. Like she is quite ish and scoffy, and it works.
Yeah,
I think though. For me, it must be easier for Abel in this role because he's literally playing himself. Like, how hard can that be?
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Whereas I think the Idol, he was a bit of an arrogant,
sleazeball.
But I think it didn't help that his character was just awful. Like, his character was written awful. Like, and even if...
Which I know is sometimes you're supposed to say, oh, well, that's good, you're supposed to character you love to hate or anything like that, but it just comes, it was like...
It was cringy, though. It's not like a... I always go to like Game of Thrones with the character that I love to hate, like Joffrey. And that's when I know he did a good role at acting that because I absolutely despised him. So I feel like that's the sense. I feel like with Idol, I think it's one of those things where it's more because the writing, the script was poor, not actually the actors, because obviously they've gone on to do both Abel and...
I mean, he's always got his music, well, although we're saying that, I don't know if he's going to do any more music.
Better do.
Because I think this is what all this kind of alludes to with this film. It's like like the separating himself from that Weeknd persona and like letting go of that. It's like he's become so massive, like success from it. It's like weighing down on him a lot, and so that's why this is like almost like exposing himself to. Well, there's like look, this is the pressures of being famous and everything, and it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's not a new concept at all. Like, oh, really, a pop star's really that miserable kind of thing. There's billions of songs written about the fact of that as well from other artists and all this kind of stuff. And
I feel like we can go back to Daft Punk being the same thing. Like when they were the 555. They were.
Oh yeah. Sorry, you mean the characters in that film? Yeah.
Because that was the same scenario when they got dragged to Earth.
Yeah.
It
was to death and then...
Same principle. And I think you can also think of like Elvis, like we watched, not recently, but we watched the
it's the same
documentary on
thing,
him.
we brought that up as well, this is just shot more like a dark, seedy underbelly of it all a little bit more. That's more the isolation of it all and feeling.
I feel like you can't trust anyone because everyone's going to just put you on a pedestal, say you're amazing, say how fantastic you are.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to say, "Oh, you're crap. That's not a great song," because they just want to see. Well, any publicity is good publicity to the kind of type of people that the managers. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to see the money coming in, even if it's good or bad. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And I think it's realising that that person is still a person. Like, I think that's where it gets lost because there's what's his name? The Irish guy.
Oh, I forget his character's name now.
I forget his character's name.
But he's played by Barry Keoghan, who's obviously like skyrocketed in popularity with things. I've
what
seen
else has he been in?
The Banshees of Inisherin, I think, is the one first time I saw it.
The finger one?
Yeah, but I don't like you anymore, kind of. Yeah, on that little Irish island.
With Mad Eye Moody?
Yeah, and Colin Farrell. Yeah, great film that is.
So is he the little lad that?
Yeah, he's the young lad. And
he's bulked out, hasn't he?
Yeah. And Saltburn, which you haven't seen.
No, but why? I've heard so much about it.
Yeah, it's a bit. You'd probably like.
Am I going to hate it?
Probably.
We're going to Saltburn. Maybe we should watch it when we're in Saltburn.
Yeah. Around that time.
Is it seaside related?
It's nothing. No, it's just the place. It's nothing to do with the place. It's just. It's just the house that it takes place in is just called that.
Oh, so it's not even in Saltburn.
No, it's not in Saltburn. No, it's not in Saltburn. No, it's not a depiction of Saltburn in any way, shape, or form.
Go and go. Oh, that will film there then. No.
Yeah, no, it's not like that kind of thing. But no, he's really good performance.
So he's not just boomed because of dating Sabrina Carpenter. No.
No. I think that's just highlighting that a bit more. Like he's in shone a light on him a bit more now, and so therefore he's like, he's quite popular, and it's not just come out from that and be like, who's this guy kind of thing that she's dating type of thing. It's not.
He has done other things before that. He's an actor.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. I think there's some on. I see on Mubi. There's other work he's done, which I'd be interested to look that through. But
I didn't understand the accent initially. I was like, "Is this Irish?
He's Irish.
What is this?" He also is trying to be his true self. He's not pretending to not be Irish. It does actually come about like I came from Ireland with you, and just to incorporate his accent. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
In this, I think he's a bit of a dick of a character. Like he's
like a managerial role kind of thing. It's like, oh no, you got to listeners, people out there, you got to perform kind of thing. You can't let me down kind of thing.
Dance monkey dance.
Yeah. I love you kind of thing. You got.
We're doing it for us.
Yeah.
It's very manipulating. It's very controlling. Yeah. All the drugs, like he's literally pouring alcohol and shit and saying, "I care for you, man. I'm really there for you, but take this other sniff." And it's like, but then maybe it's an adrenaline thing that he's hoping like, that'll get him through
getting
it.
Pumped, and it's just that's why he's like lifting those weights. And
do you know what I thought were funny with them weights? Right.
Yeah.
This was the bit that made me laugh throughout the film. So just before he gets on stage, he pumps this iron and pumps the weights. And he's got a wonderful, like, nice vest, and you can see all his toned arms, and it's great. Then he puts on a massive black robe, and you can't see his arms, and it's like, so what's the point?
Well, I think that's more just to get him riled up and the adrenaline going. I did want to say that in the film, but it's like, I'm trying to watch the film here. Like, and isn't like at home where I can just be like, to say that, not disturbing anybody around.
I think I whispered it fine enough.
But that's what it...
I'm not normally a one that whispers like in cinemas. I'm not normally a good girl.
Yeah.
And I sit there quietly. But I was just like, is it really? But yeah, because it's like, well, to me, if you're pumping iron, you want to see people show you.
Well, only the people who are going to be in the close proximity are going to see, unless you're on a screen.
Yeah, exactly. You're on a big screen.
Yeah. So
you told me that this was representing a tour that he did. So it's kind of like a.
Yeah. So I've got the article here that's in the Empire magazine, picked up mainly because of this is probably not the newest issue because I think there's one since I got this one, but it's the one that's it was about the Jaws 50th anniversary. But there's an article about this film in here, and it mentions about the final show of his hit 2022 North American tour. So at the SoFi Stadium.
Oh.
So he broke down in front of 80,000 fans. So struggling.
That's not the run that he does the SoFi recording the Dawn FM and.
I don't know.
Because you know that
I mean, he did. I never got the thing of that, but it could well be. But obviously, it's been a couple. He's probably sold out a couple of the
SoFis.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So he's saying like struggling to get through the opening track of his set. So which is kind of what happens in the film in one instance. So
so it says that Abel Tesfaye described experiencing mental breakdown following a concert in September 2022 where he lost his voice and was unable to continue the show.
Mm-hmm.
He felt deflated on the world stage, and the experience led him to rethink his life and the direction of his career, including his new album Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the SoFi or Los Angeles where he had to stop the concert due to his voice issues.
Yep.
Was a significant turning point. It still doesn't tell me what album that would be.
That'll be. What do you mean? It'll be. We'll think about it. It'll be the
Dawn FM and
yeah.
So this is quite interesting because imagine if this had happened to us. So obviously we actually were lucky enough to see him perform.
Yeah.
Because I think it must have been COVID because Dawn FM came out, but you've got the After Hours, which didn't have a tour.
Well, we would have done the Canadian American tour,
right?
Before we started, because we were doing like a European tour after the fact. So,
but
if you're saying that's September, then we got it in like June, didn't we?
Yeah, but what I mean is, After Hours they merged the two albums together to do a tour.
Yes.
Because I think After Hours came out and COVID hit, so I don't think he could tour.
He couldn't tour at that point.
So it's like he did a bit of a Taylor Swift thing, but just did two albums instead of a whole era tour. Mm-hmm. So actually, like, imagine us paying to go see him, toddling off to Manchester, and then he opens his mouth and nothing comes out. You'd be like, what? Sorry? Because you waited all day to see him, and it must be so much pressure on an artist. Like, you expect that person to just perform, like, that's what you're paying for. That's what you assume they should do. And then he can't.
Letting all those people, not even just the people in the crowd, like stage hands and all that kind of stuff, all those things that money thing, and everybody will want refunds or
100%
something like that.
Not that money's an issue. He obviously has got loads of pennies, but it's more the experience. It's letting somebody down.
I mean, that might have been their only gig of the year or something like spend all the money to get that ticket or whatever,
really
something crazy like
that. They idol him, no pun intended, it is.
They are, sometimes these artists are bigged up to like such massive scales, and then it's like wonder why they're put the pressures on to give the performance of their lives every single night kind of thing, and you've got to be at the top peak performance to do.
And I think it's so like that job is so highly critiqued. Like, it's one of those things, like, if you did a bad performance, you'd be in the news the next day and everyone would know about it. It'd be everywhere. Just like that, like, straight away I could Google Abel Tesfaye breaks down on stage.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Solid your career a little bit, something like that.
I didn't even know, though, like, that was a thing. Like, I didn't realise he had got to a point where he couldn't perform. It makes me sad to think he'd got to that stage, because I thought, like, obviously at the beginning he was quite on his drugs and sex and everything. He was the Weeknd, like, that's who he was.
That's built up from those mixtapes and stuff at the beginning. So,
and then it started to become a persona instead of an actual reality.
Yeah.
But then obviously he's fallen back, and I think that links with the Hurry Up Tomorrow. Like that little sound bit where she's like, there's a woman's voice, and is it Lana's
on the phone call? No, it's Florence and Machine.
Really?
Yeah.
And she's saying like, I know you, I know what you're doing, and
you're going back to your old ways.
Yeah, and that's kind of linking into the film, isn't it, and showing him struggling.
Yeah, a lot. So that's like there's a lot of, when you listen to that, it would be interesting to listen back. Obviously, kind of got the sense of what he was going for anyway prior to that, because it's like from his previous work, like how that's ebbs and flows with a theme of.
It makes you realise actually fame is just not everything, because like they're so lonely that like it must be like you've got everything, but what do you strive for next? Like, and who do you trust? But at the same time, you could see like the artisticness in him. Like he still wanted to carry on. Like even when he had like that stage thing, and he couldn't sing, he was like then trying to, like he just wanted to show the girl the song that he started to write.
Yeah, her name was Annie.
Annie. I'll be honest, his Canadian accent, I did not.
Yeah,
I did not know what he was saying.
Played by Jenna Ortega, who
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, which
we haven't seen.
Which we haven't seen, but I don't know. That
Why don't we watch it for one Halloween?
Maybe.
I really thought that one gonna fly. I thought I was pushing my luck.
I don't know. I feel like it's just, I'm not really big on the Addams Family, to be honest.
What?
It's alright, but
we're
it's not.
Creaky and we're kooky.
Yeah. Despite, like a bit of a gimmicky, like Halloween kind of thing. But anyway, yeah. Again, another. I feel like you pretty much see her in almost every film these days. Like she's always like she's on like a high with like their acting roles. Really, constantly seeing them and like featuring this film.
Is it more like kind of thrillerish? Is it
like horror? I think she's found a niche in like doing these horror thriller kind of.
Is she Final Girl mainly, or is she?
I think she's in one of the new Scream films.
Right.
Although thinking back, I think the first time we'll have seen her, though, I didn't realise at the time, was the film called X. It was like the...
Did that have...
they were filming like a porn, filming like a country bar.
Yeah. Why did I think that she reminded me of... Do you know Parks and Rec's April? I think.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Yeah, obviously she's a lot older than that. Yeah, but I think maybe I'm thinking of getting April vibes from her, like a young April. But, right, yeah, think about that. I think I just put that film way back to my head. So
despite obviously knowing or seeing her in like advertised, she's in this film and all that kind of stuff, I've never really seen her act before. So this is the first instance where I've seen a film where I sat down and it's like, she's in this.
The only other thing I could say would be like it's not really acting. I know she's in the Taste video from Sabrina Carpenter's.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a similar vibe. Like she's a bit psychotic and a bit loopy in that. Like,
yeah, but in a playful way.
Yeah. I think she does a really good performance. Like the fact that she sobs, she cries, and it's like,
I can't really, from what I gathered, it's good.
Makes you think what she's thinking about, like to make her cry on cue.
No, I think she's pretty well suited to this project. So
they never kiss.
No, I think that's quite refreshing in a way. Like it's implied to the extreme of not even really showing anything at all.
Yeah.
Kind of just like the embracing, like looking at each other quite close, but not really going, like not even just a kiss, and then cut into the next day or whatever kind of thing.
And it's weird because the Weeknd's...
Which I'm kind of glad they didn't have to do that. Because it's like, okay, I don't need to have a whole thing, let's romp around.
I felt like they respected them as artists, both in like the sense of him being a singer and her being an actress. Yeah. Like they respected their forms. I just think it's unique because like previous earlier albums, he would have had any girl like flaunt it and be in a bikini.
I mean that happens in videos now, so
So it's like, I'm surprised we didn't do that in this film, really. Yeah. But maybe that's because he's got a girlfriend now.
Who's that then?
I'm pretty sure she's a...
It's not Angelina Jolie.
No, it's not. And it's not Ariana Grande. That's what I wish would happen. But I think she's if he's still with her, she's a DJ.
All right.
Yeah, DJ Simi. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, not DJ Sammy.
Khadra.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Since they were first linked in early 2022, so is she like after he had a mental breakdown?
Maybe. Left to pick up the piece.
Or maybe she's the girl, maybe he's the one that he fell in love with. Maybe she's the one that pours gasoline on him and nearly kills him until he starts singing the final song on Hurry Up Tomorrow. I have a couple of questions. I don't know if you're going to be able to answer them, but I've got a couple, because obviously it's not like you've seen this before. This is
No.
both our first watches. But I just want to know your interpretation. You know, when we get to the point of obviously he's been on stage, he can't sing, and then they have a really nice like moment together. It's implied they sleep together. They wake up the next morning and he's like, oh, I've got to go get back to work and get on the plane and everything. She hits him on the head.
Yeah.
He then is in, am I right in thinking he's in an elevator at that point?
I think so, yeah. He's kind of like walking around the hotel or whatever. And everything's
Nobody's there.
Yeah. Even the streets are, I think.
Yeah, streets are empty. He goes back into the elevator. The elevator gets stuck.
And he
goes through this black hole.
Yeah.
Is this all like in his head then at this point? Because he's been whacked.
Well, I mean, yeah.
The tunnel bit freaked me out. That was the scariest bit because I didn't know what were happening. It was really dark and somebody was screaming. But then he saw a boy.
I presume his younger self.
Because that's kind of what's implied in the other videos, like for the music videos of the album.
Yeah, that we've seen, yeah. The Red Terror, and there's another one, I'm sure. Oh, like some other one that wasn't a music video. It was just like another animated segment.
I think was that like kind of before it came out, it was like showing you what, like an interlude or something. There was something, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I just wondered what that kind of concept was. Like, why was he subconsciously thinking about...
Well, his past.
His past, but at the same time, like, a dark vision where he's going through, like, a tunnel and things are chasing him. Is it all kind of like a internal monologue of how he's feeling and wants to revert back to his inner child?
I think so. Like, you know, in innocence of that, you know, like, which is in that song at the end, really. You know, like, his mother, like, you know, used to bath him and everything, and it, like, protect him from the world, essentially, like, you know, like...
It just makes you think that, like, how the world can make you change and grow as a person. Like, do you feel like you're more cynical now than you were when you were in your 20s? Would you say that you've learned more, or would you say, like... Because some people can say with age you can become more bitter, and...
We can all be a bit more cynical now, can't we, as we're getting older,
but then I think it's
how it operates.
Is it just your innocence goes? Like you've experienced more things, so you become more wise to it.
Yeah, I realise,
I think that's it.
Is, yeah.
There aren't really many other, like, characters, is there really, in this? There is, like, only, like...
They're the main three, yeah.
Yeah, there's not much... Obviously, there's other, like, people working at the stadium and stuff, but it's not, like...
It's mostly about these three, yeah. So I want to bring up a point that kind of... It sort of mentions in the article here about Annie's character, the character of Annie, rather, that Jenna said that my perception of the character was that she is Abel. She's like the feminine side, like the softer side. Initially, that's why she, you know, he sees her in the crowd, and it's like, oh look, there is a bit of what I used to be, kind of thing, and that's thing. But then,
because the bit that I was wondering is, like, they had dated before, right? Like, this was a bit...
What?
Annie and...
What do you mean
Abel, like, because she's on the phone breaking up with somebody at the beginning.
I think, isn't the whole thing with the mum?
Oh, is it her mum?
That's why when initially when there's phone ringing, I thought it was his phone that was saying mum on the phone.
No, but like...
But then it's like, oh no, it's her phone. So, but that's also implying that the split thing of the... Not split personality, but like there's something there that's...
Because she says your mum would be disappointed in you with the way you treat me.
Yeah, but I think that's this other girl that you mentioned before. Nothing to do with Annie.
So I thought it was her, and like they were breaking up, and he was wondering why
would he be like, oh, I've seen you, like, why would...
That's what I thought. I thought it was like a split personality. Like, 1 minute he's like, oh, I really want you, and the next minute...
it's someone completely different. There's photos, like...
They looked different. They did look different. I did wonder, and I'm thinking, well, I'm confused. So why did she go to the concert then? Was she just going... Or, like, was she infatuated with him? Like, what was it?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, based on that statement, is that like a thing that's something lost innocence that's kind of like out in the crowd despite all this, and that's like, oh, well... what could maybe turn things around for me, kind of thing, and get back to how I was, or find something within that, like, to calm me down.
He basically uses her.
Yeah, in that sense. And then that's why, like, he's so quick to, like, be like,
Leave.
well, I've got to go now, back on the flight. It's like I've had like a time to think, to reflect on things, or like a bit of a breather. Right now, get back onto the road,
tunnel.
but then it's like conscience then goes, no, that's her hitting over there. I don't know. There's something in that maybe. I think it's all conceptual in a way of that, because even like this at the very end when he goes out the hotel room, it sets the room on fire, and then he's back in the. It all leads back to like the stage or whatever, and he's getting ready for the concert. So it's like, okay, it's
where's
like
she gone and what's happened to her
with that, and so it's like, okay, right, put that to bed, burn all that's in the past, move on.
Yeah, because it makes you wonder what house Annie's actually burning, like if that's her own mother's house, or like at the beginning, when she's throwing gasoline all over it, it's like, well, whose property is that? Like, and we never really get to find out, and she's just like on the run.
Yeah.
But then, like, she says it's her own choice because, like, she left her mum.
I think again that it cements the similarity there, because when she's there, we listen to the song in the hotel in the first instance, and she's like, it reflects me, and then she goes through all the stuff that I think is like, oh, my dad left me, which is what happened to Abel. It's just my mum raising him, but I had to get out, which is what happened in his life. He had to break away from his mum.
Yeah.
To make a name for himself, and I'm just so fucking lonely, which is what, again.
But he could have brought his mum with him. He had so much money. Like, if he wanted his mum nearby, I'm sure she'd have been nearby. If he'd have asked. What mother wouldn't go, oh yeah, I'll go to Australia with you. Yeah, I'll just be your manager. Taylor Swift's mum is her manager. Yeah, but I don't think
I'm talking about the very beginning.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean.
Like he's.
But then I think it's too late. He'd kind of got corrupted into drugs and all of that. But then there's a song, isn't there? Like, is it Timeless?
Banger.
No, but didn't he say like what is it? If I wasn't by 18, I would slit my wrists or something if I weren't famous, basically.
No, I don't think that's on that one. I think you're mixing.
What is it?
There's some other. No, I think that.
So I think I'm mixing. There's 2 times he wants to slit his wrists. So this one, it does say if he wasn't famous, he'd slit his wrists in Timeless.
Something like along those lines.
But then I think in like House of Balloons or something, if he hadn't made it by 18.
Yeah, it's in that one, yeah.
So basically, he's always had, even like when you're thinking about his lyrics then, like suicidal kind of like dark thoughts, like this was like the be all and end all for him to be famous. Mm-hmm. But then it's quite funny because you get to a point of where being famous is not actually all it's cracked up to be. And then he wants to revert back to his innocence that he did have. And there is a saying, isn't there? The grass is not always green on the other side.
That's a play on it, isn't it? Because normally you do say, oh, the grass is green on the other side. You think it is, but
actually it's not. I feel like a lot of people who are famous now would actually say they don't want to be famous. It's quite ironic when that's all they've ever wanted and they now don't want it.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you said, well, right, we'll take all that money away from you, but maybe not. Yeah. So, yeah. What they're going to do, work at like a McDonald's or something.
Imagine, here's a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You want fries with that?
Imagine. Be amazing.
So stylistically, though, did you like
flashing lights? Blah blah blah. Like flash, 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 flash.
Did you ever warn at the
It did.
Start,
Yeah. Should have a warning when you buy the ticket, Paul. Unless it did and you just didn't tell me.
It probably does on the the description of the when you go on the
site. It should say before you buy the ticket, like, there is going to be flashing lights. Are you okay with this? And then you should say no and you don't buy your ticket. Or you say yes and you buy your ticket. It wasn't too bad. Obviously, it was mainly like the concerts.
Club stuff,
but then, for me, it wasn't that bit that bothered me.
Right.
It was like the mergy red blobby bit that we're moving. The colour
scheme that it's like this greeny blue, yeah.
And I were making shapes that weren't even there, like people figures.
Which I can is part of the style of it, I think, really, because it's like, there's the blurred faces in the crowd and all that kind of stuff, and just
always makes you feel like,
whoa, trippy kind of.
Somebody's looking down on you or over at you, like that's kind of what it feels. One
of the things I did like, I don't know if you picked up on, obviously we didn't need the song. I think that would have been a bit cringy if they think it did that. Like, say, if it was to go like the way of the Daft Punk way of doing it. When he's in the scene, he's in the bathroom, in the tub, and he's like submerged in water, and there's like a blurry figure in the corner, like in the song, "The Baptizing Fear." Which is a figure in the corner looking at me.
Oh yeah.
Vision, and that kind of stuff, like taking the lyrics of that song, but just showing a visual, not having to have the words sang to it at that point.
And I think that's the same with the Pour the Gasoline on Me, like when she's doing that to him.
But that's not even from
it's not.
Album. So.
But she does bring it up, which is quite interesting because like I do like that bit. I do think that's quite like funny. Where she's like, "Oh, what do these lyrics mean? Just be honest with me." Like, and then saying about blinding lights.
Yeah.
And then gasoline.
What 2 things I liked about that scene in particular. One, the fact she's like, "Oh, gasoline wasn't even in like the top 5 on Spotify or whatever." Yeah. Kind of funny. It's like, "Oh, the music video wasn't that great either." Something kind of found funny, like, "Oh, having a dig," but more the concept of like, "Oh, that would be so cool to be like hang around with people and just be like, oh, let's listen to the thing, like what's like your favorite Weeknd track or whatever, and just have a little vibe session, that kind of thing." That would be like cool to have something like that, and just like, what do these lyrics mean, that kind of stuff. I do like, as much as I enjoy talking movies, I do also like talking about music as well. Like,
why aren't we doing that? You know, I love music more than movies, but somehow we ended up in a movie podcast. You are collecting everything, though, Paul, to be fair.
I do like both mediums. I mean, obviously it's a hell of a lot easier to digest music in your day-to-day than it is sit down and watch film for
I think that's why I prefer music. You can be in the background, you can be doing something else, it energizes you, it gives you...
At the same time, if you sit down and listen to the lyrics or whatever, then there's probably a lot more to it than that. But
I love that. I think that's something that I really go for, like when I'm listening to an artist. If I have to say, like my favorite artists are more like lyrical. I would definitely say that is something that I do tend to go for. It don't have to just sound great or be a good beat or something. I like to unpick the stories of what's being said within it.
Yeah.
But I think overall this is something that I'm glad I've seen.
Yeah, wanting to see it anyway. This is the whole thing.
I've scratched my itch. Like, I think if I hadn't seen it, I'd eventually had to see it just because I'd have been too curious not to.
I don't know if this is something I'd be like, oh yeah, I must see that again. I think it's like a cinema experience, and that's probably it. There might be at some point where I come back to it, but I can get the sense of, obviously, from listening to the music from the album all the way through, and that kind of settles its own story in a way.
It's more enjoyable, I think. Like the parts that I really enjoyed, the Weeknd performance. So like the first starting scene, like it was like he's like, and you could tell he was singing whatever he'd done.
Oh yeah.
He was recording that live singing, like even if it was like a fake concert they'd filmed for it, the film, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you'd say. Yeah.
Like in some he was performing
location, but singing. Yeah, he was. You can tell it wasn't like, oh, they just stuck the track on, and
that's one thing I did like about this. Like, I did think it was really clever how they used music as different mediums within it. So, like, obviously, like in the club, you could see that he's doing it as a DJ. I think at one point there was a song playing while Anna is in the car, and you can tell it's on the radio.
Yeah,
Annie, is it Annie?
Yeah, Annie. Yeah.
So, like, how it's like changed like levels of like, oh, it's just sounds different because it's on the radio, so it doesn't sound as clear.
Yeah.
So just like the way that it was fed in, instead of like obviously the Daft Punk one where it's just the whole album streamless.
Yeah.
This was like a bit more diverse.
Yeah, in different situations, and like the timeless song playing when there's having the party and they're all getting coked up and everything, all that kind of stuff, and it's just in the music in the background while everyone's having a good time type of thing.
That must be a bit weird though. Like it's your own song and you're having everyone around and you're listening to your own music. Yeah. Like I don't know if I was an artist, I'd want to.
Yeah, people like people have like listening parties and stuff, and
that's cool. But that's only when you're wanting to like let people
promote a thing. You know, people that you work on or close friends are like, oh, listen to this music that I've made, kind of thing. What do you think, kind of thing. Yeah. and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like a cool concept. Like to
I
have
don't think that's what that
sort of
was.
exclusivity of that experience.
Imagine, Paul, if you could get into that and you knew somebody so well that they'd let you listen to all the stuff before it came out. Just need to find Abel and become his bestie.
It does make me think for the future though. What if he is like saying I'm retiring from music? Is he going to go by a different name or
is he just going to go into acting?
Or is he just going to be Abel? And I don't know.
I don't think he can give it up. I don't think.
I'd be very sad if he did, to be honest. But that's not saying that, oh, you must, like a lot of people will be like, no, come on, you've got to keep going through it and all that kind of stuff. I think
he's too passionate. Like his passion for it is there, that he will end up creating something. It's just who he is. Like, I don't think it's ever going to go away from him. He's too talented for it to not, and he will come back to it even if he has a break. I think his love for it will rekindle. I think that's every artist though. You have to just have a pause sometimes, and it just becomes a chore and it feels like work. It sucks the fun out of it, and then you've got to recharge and come back and enjoy it as a hobby again.
Just like anything,
an art form.
Yeah, you can have too much of a good thing, I suppose. So I don't know if we've talked enough about the film as we have done everything, but
true.
the thing. But I think it kind of jumps off the.
To be fair, the film's not really that depth to talk about. Like,
no, it's more the experience of what it had to offer and how it relates to his actual personal life, I suppose, and all that kind of stuff. Really,
and it's interesting to see that it's just like using the girl. Like, obviously, we didn't say like. Is it Benny? What's his name?
Called Barry. I forget its actual.
Barry.
Yeah.
He gets killed.
Yeah.
But then
in scuffle.
Yeah. It makes you think: is he actually real, or is it just a figment of his imagination? Like, because when he gets back to the stage, like backstage, no one's like, "Oh, what's his face has died." Like, even though he's been stabbed in the neck with some glass.
Know. It could just be a thing of that. It's like, oh, like, stop putting the pressure on me, like that, and I don't know, a stern telling off type of thing, and that's what I'm in reality as opposed to him actually dying. I don't know. This is the thing where obviously the bloodline, which is, I mean, that leaves something to like interpret, which is good, rather than just being straight cut going, well, this is how it happened, and there's no like ways around like, oh, how do you interpret that?
I do think for me, one part was a little bit emotional. And it's when he's tied up on the bed and he sings like the last song, which is... No,
the title track, isn't it? Hurry Up Tomorrow.
Is it Hurry? Oh, yeah, it is Hurry Up Tomorrow. Yeah. I don't know why I blanked on that. And that song always kind of, like saying, I want to change no more. And, you know, like, I want to go to heaven and want all of that. And I don't know, I feel like it is like a very much
a rebirth kind of thing. For
closing chapter, rebirth,
And I was pointing out the fact that with that, when that plays out, if you played that with the first, it full circle links back to the very first track on House of Balloons. The fade, like the fade in, and then it fade.
You have to show me.
Fade in to House of Balloons, so it is like the cycle of his career is that's it. So that makes you think, okay, well, that's almost is closing the door on it all. But I don't know.
But then that could be just a Weeknd persona. Yeah. It doesn't mean... Yeah. I think he will make music. I just don't know how. It might be not for a while. Like, he could have a break and... Yeah. But I think he will definitely come back.
I think of the streams and stuff. He's got enough money to set him for quite a while, to be honest.
But the thing what confuses me is I thought he was his own label.
EXO, yeah.
So, like... But I guess he's still got a manager dictating to him, whereas I didn't think that was...
I don't even think it's necessarily about... that, to be honest, but
because I was thinking, well, like Taylor Swift, like we always go back to her saying she didn't own her own music and stuff. Like, obviously, The Weeknd owns all his music because he's got his own label. He's never been like kind of put into any label in that sense. So,
I don't know about the beginning though. I'm not entirely sure.
But then this is not like when he's done it. Like when he's on about this, like I can't sing, my voice isn't working. That's he's got his own label at that point.
Yeah.
But yet, still being pushed. Even though he's technically his own boss.
That's what the industry does, isn't it?
Like, he should be able to stop whenever he wants because he's his own manager, really.
I guess, yeah.
Anything else from your Empire magazine that we're missing?
I mean, there's tidbits here and there, but it's a lot of stuff to
Churn
through. And
you haven't read it yet because obviously you wanted to.
I know. No, I did read it. I did read it
read
before.
it.
So
I'm surprised you did because I thought you'd think you'd get spoilers.
Well, I mean, it's not going to tell you absolutely everything that happens in it, but it's just an idea. But I think it's just to get a flavour of what's things. So they kind of sort of had the thing of what Annie was in mind before I went in. So
that's good then, better than what I had.
So yeah, I think we'll call it there.
And it's over to you.
Had a good discussion.
Yeah, I think it was quite funny because we did actually say, would we be able to have anything to speak about? And I feel like this one's going to be quite lengthy.
Mm-hmm. I don't actually know what I would score it, really.
It's not something I've seen before. Like
this isn't
linking it to an album.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes it more special for me personally. Like, I feel like it could be the film that it is and not be as special. I think it works because it's linked to the album.
Yeah, and it's not really let's put him in a film because he's just, like, say, I don't know, like when One Direction came out, let's put them in a film like they did with the Beatles or anything like that.
Oh, I can't believe I'm going to diss this, but it's like Ed Sheeran being in Bridget Jones' Diary. It's just all like Game of Thrones. Yeah. That's what you mean.
Yeah, but he was a big enough success before that. It wasn't like, oh, he's just come out, let's throw him in because he's hot property at the moment.
Yeah,
this
but
is
still, like,
this is obviously a whole big concept that came 100%.
About 100%, and I think he's actually thought about this
through, and yeah, there's more than you think probably from a long while.
I feel like he's known about this album. He's wanted this piece and he's wanted to create probably this piece of art. It's his intention. Like, it feels.
Yeah.
Not like Ed Sheeran just going, somebody's going, oh, Ed, do you want to be in Bridget Jones? Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. Or Yesterday or whatever, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Shoe on him anyway.
Yeah. Oh, God, I couldn't imagine him being in a full length. I know as much as you love him, but I think he just wouldn't come across. He
can't act.
No.
He can sing. Like, sometimes you have to just realise certain ones can do both, which is great. Others can just sing or act, and that's fine. Like, we still haven't watched Wicked, which I do think Ariana Grande would be amazing in. Anyway, sorry.
That is a film involving singing, but yeah.
True.
Yeah. It was, like I say, it wasn't that was not worth going to see type of thing, yeah. Wasting money type of thing or anything like that, because
we'd still want to scratch that itch.
Yeah, would do. But at the same time...
And were you watching it again?
I'm going to go 7.
No, I think I agree with you. I think I can't give it any higher just because...
Yeah.
I want to, like, my gut tells me I want to because it's The Weeknd and it's his album, and we do really love him to bits. But at the same time,
that's not enough to.
You have to compare it to other films out there, don't you? That's what this podcast is. So
yeah, you do.
I feel unfair to him because I do think he's done a great performance. I think Wednesday, she's great as an actress. Like, the 3 main leads that are there are
just doing
sterling jobs.
They wouldn't want to be involved, the high profile people that they are at the moment, if they didn't believe in the project type of thing.
They could turn it down, couldn't they? If they didn't think it was good enough.
They could just get anybody.
Because it could wreck their career.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad I've seen it. I would recommend it for somebody to watch. I'm not going to say...
Who is a fan of The Weeknd, this is proof for them, and they get the whole, like, what he's going through and all that kind of stuff, and, like, with the journey of that, then 100%. But probably not for everybody, especially if you're not
The Weeknd.
If you're not a fan of The Weeknd at all, then don't go and see it. But
imagine
what's how his music's in this?
Why is his music playing constantly?
Obviously this, it might have only say small screen, so it might not even be out by the time you hear this. But if obviously if it comes on streaming or Blu-ray, whatever, after down the line, then if you're interested in seeing what it's about, then do. It's a very mild recommendation, I suppose. Let's call it that. But
more
just
being a Weeknd fan that I'm recommending it.
Yeah, and I've seen stronger, like, psychological, like, mind-bending films that are a bit more intriguing as well. So, and it wasn't for me personally any point going, oh, like I felt emotion or anything like this. There's nothing
I think mine's
there. Not saying there's anything from that, like, oh well, how could you say that, Paul? This, he's going through a lot.
No, I think mine's more just at the end when he's tied on the bed and he's singing that song. But that song always gets me anyways. Like, I feel it when I listen to it. So I think that's probably why I felt the way I did when I watched it. It's more the music that drives it than the actual... And the way that he was doing it, because obviously it was just... There was nothing in the background.
Yeah, just his voice.
Yeah. And you could hear the inflections and it sounded different. Like, because obviously
he wasn't doing
pain.
the pitch perfect. Yeah, because he was...
Yeah.
So that's good, I suppose.
It was... Yeah. Gave it more depth.
Yeah, yep. Coolio.
So...
Good sesh.
Yeah, nice chat.
So, it's time to thank the patrons. Of course.
I thought you were going to thank me.
For what? Being here?
Being the best co-host.
You are.
Thank you.
That's a given.
But yes, we do want to thank the patrons just for all the love and support. And if people do want to become more patrons, then you can. So it's £1, $1.50, and you can get to vote once a month and you get a shout out every week. So you've got to go to patreon.com/SP Film Viewers, and then you can sign up to be a patron, and then you get all them special perks. So we're going to shout out our lovely patrons now.
Yep, we've got Mark from 100 Things to Learn from Film, Ben from Ben Push Pull Health, formerly Film Vloggers, and Nico from the Good, the Bad and the Weird podcast.
We've then got Emma and Jonesy, who are on Instagram under the handle Weight Loss Jonesy and M_Hayton. We've also got our friend Chris Gren, who is under the handle CGren_draw.
We've also got Alex and Shani, who are at Desperately Seeking Username, and SDOG on Instagram.
And lastly, but not least, my mum.
Yep, so thank you everybody once again for your continuing support, and we hope more people join the family.
Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for people listening to us.
I do like the idea of the music thing, but I just don't know how well that would work. I think there's a lot more setup involved.
True.
That's more of a visual, as daft as that sounds.
Yeah, probably. More visual than a movie. It's more the time, Paul, isn't it? That's the thing.
As well as, yeah. But there we are. So, thank you very much for listening once again, and we'll speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Take care, bye.
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 Bye.